Hey guys, in this video we're going to talk about MrBeast getting arrested, Taylor Swift and Ice Spice collaborating out of damage control, and Tory Lanez getting even more jail time. First up, let's talk about why MrBeast fans are kind of freaking out right now. In a wild video which was posted to YouTube yesterday, Jimmy Donaldson found himself shoved in the back of a cop car in his home state of North Carolina. But the catch is that it was all an elaborate prank set up by another popular YouTuber called Eric, aka Eric Decker. The craziest part about this is how real the whole thing looked, and you could tell that Jimmy was having a genuine reaction to getting arrested. In the video, Eric explained that his team had signed a contract with real police officers to get the prank in motion. They pulled Jimmy over while he was driving in his Tesla. He was then handcuffed and stuffed into the back of a cop car before they drove him to the station. All the while, he managed to keep his cool and had a little smile on his face. When he got into the car, he started questioning whether or not he was being pranked and asked one of the officers, "Let me guess, one of my friends put you up to this?" But his confidence started to falter when he admitted that he had a lot of people who might have a problem with him. He said it's a pretty elaborate prank if it is one, and it went on for a long time too. He even had his mugshot taken and asked to see his lawyer. This is when Eric gave him a call and revealed that it was all just a prank. Jimmy was clearly relieved in the end, and he did actually think it was real when he got to the police station. This whole thing was a revenge plot over a prank that was played on Eric more than a year ago. Jimmy made one of his producers pretend that he was quitting to join the MrBeast crew. Eric said he was mortified when the skit unfolded and decided to organize an even more elaborate prank to pay him back. He asked the New York City Police Department to help out so that he could successfully convince him that he was going to jail. But the plan didn't go through in New York, so they then decided to move it to North Carolina where Jimmy lives. So far, the video has already garnered more than 2 million views on YouTube. It's possible that the prank works so well because Jimmy actually thought that someone was out to get him. Although a huge part of his content focuses on philanthropy and giving out money to those in need, he certainly has a lot of critics. He faces a ton of backlash on the regular for doing things that are seemingly well-intentioned, like giving a waitress a free car and donating shoes to 2,000 children in Africa. He was most recently slammed for buying his staff an entire neighborhood to live in. Many people felt like he was trying to create a company town, which historically is not a great idea. He got called out in a viral tweet that said, "What a nice man, surely a CEO buying homes and creating neighborhoods for their employees' families has no historical relevance or background at all." Jimmy then responded by tweeting, "Only I could get cancelled for giving people a place to live with no strings attached. All these company town tweets make no sense. I was just helping some people." But some people swear he has ulterior motives whenever he does an act of kindness. It's not a secret that his gestures are fueled by the revenue generated from his YouTube channel, but a lot of that money is what enables him to keep up with the philanthropy. So if he wasn't worried about content and views, he simply wouldn't be able to do that much work. At this point though, it seems like no matter what he does, he just can't get away from being criticized by others. Jimmy has also been called out for his personal life and who he associates with. He recently came under fire for daring to support his trans friend and colleague Chris Tyson. It all started when Chris revealed that they were receiving hormone therapy and exploring their gender identity, and that's when the hate started pouring in. Many people also pointed fingers at Jimmy because he showed no signs of distancing himself from his friend. The backlash came to a head when a YouTuber named SunnyV2 released a video titled "Why Chris Will Soon Be a Nightmare for MrBeast." In the video, he criticizes their feminine appearance and speculates that it's going to affect the popularity of the MrBeast channel. Sunny labeled them as an over-the-top LGBTQ character simply because they are gender non-conforming. That video racked up 2 million views in less than 24 hours, and it caused a ton of controversy. In response, Jimmy tweeted, "Yeah, this is getting absurd. Chris isn't my nightmare, he's my effing friend and things are fine. All this transphobia is starting to piss me off." So he was clearly ready to jump in and defend his friend no matter what. Alright, now let's talk about Taylor Swift doing this collab with Ice Spice, because it screams damage control and people are really angry. Taylor is releasing a deluxe version of Midnights on Friday, May 26th, and it includes a new version of her song Karma, which will be featuring Ice Spice. She announced the news on Instagram and wrote, "So much to tell you. I'm a massive fan of this brilliant artist, and after getting to know her, I can confirm she is one to watch." Although her comments were turned off, we had a pretty good idea of what would have been said on that post, considering that Ice Spice shared the exact same photo, except she left her comments on. People wrote things like, "Her man said some terrible things about you by the way, and do not play with my girl Ice Spice." The backlash was even worse on Twitter. One person wrote, "Taylor Swift failing to address the racist comments Matty Healy made towards Ice Spice and then finding a way to profit off of her with a new collab is a textbook example of white woman feminism. It's convenient, manipulative, and continues to shield and protect white men." again. Another person wrote, just learned that Taylor Swift's boyfriend said racist crap about Ice Spice a couple months ago. Taylor Swift's PR team works harder than the devil. Ever since Taylor has been romantically linked to Matty, his past has been resurfacing online and it's pretty bad. But the worst of it happened in February when he went on a podcast with his friend Adam Friedland. Matty talked about messaging Ice Spice on Instagram. The men suddenly started speculating about her ethnicity, saying racist jokes and mocking various Asian accents, specifically Chinese and Hawaiian. One of the men suggested that he should have asked her about her ethnic background while he casually drops a slur. Matty then called Ice Spice dumb. That episode was pulled from Apple and Spotify earlier this month, but it can still be heard on YouTube. So it's no wonder fans of the rapper are questioning her new collab with Taylor, considering all of the horrible things that were said about her. There is also the very real question of Taylor's intentions with this new collab. Is she really trying to smooth things over and make it look like there was no harm done, or is it a collaboration that happened long before Matty went on the podcast in February? Whatever the case may be, it's not looking good for Taylor at all. In fact, this collab is just drawing even more attention to the Matty issue and the fact that she's been noticeably silent when it comes to addressing the controversy. As an artist, she is universally well liked and even more popular than she was before, but a scandal like this could bring about another reputation era, where she was essentially bullied off the internet during the whole Kim and Kanye saga. Back in 2016, Kanye released a song called Famous, where he name drops Taylor Swift and said, "I made that be famous." In response, she clapped back at the Grammys and said, "There are going to be people along the way who are going to try to undercut your success or take credit for your accomplishments or your fame." Then Kim Kardashian came to Kanye's defense and leaked a recording of Taylor agreeing to the lyrics over the phone. This caused a massive scandal to erupt, and fans called Taylor a snake for seemingly lying that she never consented to him using those lyrics. It wasn't until 4 years later that the phone call was released, which exonerated her. In the unedited recording, you can clearly hear Kanye reassure her that the lyrics won't be mean, and he conveniently leaves out the fact that he's going to use the B word. So unless she wants to go through that chaos again, it might be a good idea to try and address some of Matty's comments. In fact, her supporters have already penned an open letter asking her to do just that. The hashtag #SpeakUpNow campaign requests that she give more than a simple apology for his bigoted remarks. They're asking her to challenge harmful ideologies that are peddled by people she associates with. By staying silent on his actions, fans are accusing her of perpetuating hatred and contributing to systemic oppression. After all, there should be some real consequences for his comments. Speaking of consequences, let's talk about Tory Lanez. Prosecutors just filed a new motion seeking even more prison time for him on top of the 22 years he's already facing. He's also facing deportation from the US back to Canada. They have now cited 3 new aggravating factors which they believe are reasons to give him more time behind bars. Number 1 is his callousness and indifference for human life. 2 is his use of a semi-automatic firearm, and 3 is Megan's vulnerability as a victim. They argued that she was wearing a bikini at the time of the incident, she had no shoes on, and she was in an unfamiliar neighborhood late at night. She was also unarmed and completely defenseless. Prosecutors argued that Tory posed a significant danger to everyone in the vicinity of the incident. They said, "The brazenness of the defendant's conduct is alarming, but the conscious disregard for the well-being and safety of all those around him signifies a high degree of indifference for human life." But they didn't specify exactly how many years they want to add to his sentence. They'll have to submit their recommendation to the judge by June 6th. Megan Thee Stallion is also expected to submit a victim impact statement either in person or in writing. Back in December, she told the courtroom about how the early morning incident unfolded. She and Tory were in the car along with his bodyguard and her friend Kelsey Harris. They were all coming back from a party at Kylie Jenner's house. They had gotten into an argument on the drive home. To add to that tension, Megan didn't want Kelsey to know that she and Tory had previously had an intimate relationship. The argument in the car escalated when he turned around and told her that she needed to stop lying to Kelsey about what happened between them. Megan said she didn't want to say anything because she knew her friend had a crush on him, so she didn't want to hurt her feelings. At this point, she asked to get let out of the car. Tory and Kelsey were screaming at each other at the top of their lungs, and as they approached her house, things became even more hostile. Once she got out of the car, the two of them started insulting one another's music careers. He told her that she wasn't successful, and she fired back with that same insult. Megan said that it really rubbed him the wrong way, because he then started yelling and cursing at her even more. As she was walking away, he pointed a firearm at her feet and then fired 5 shots at her while telling her to dance. She was hit in the back of the left foot. According to her testimony, the group returned to the car once again as she tried to compress her bloody wound with makeshift towels. To make matters worse, as she was tending to her injury, this is when Tory started begging her not to tell police. He offered her and Kelsey $1 million to keep quiet about the incident, so he had already anticipated that he might be going to jail. The jury also heard a portion version of a voicemail where he apologized and acknowledged that he was drunk at the time, but he did not admit to discharging the firearm. He also texted her explaining that it should have never happened, but saying that he can't change what he did. In April of 2022, she went on CBS This Morning for an interview with Gayle King, where she opened up about the events of that night. Megan admitted that she told police that she had glass in her foot in order to protect everyone involved. She was also hesitant to call police because she worried that they would fire first and ask questions later. Not only that, but there were also weapons in the car, so she felt as though that could have led to something even worse. So what do you guys think the outcome of the case will be? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll catch you all in the next video.